So we good? Okay. My apologies, as I was waiting for a jury to come back, and as luck would have it, they came back with their verdict at about 12:20, so that caused me to be a little bit late. But welcome, and we're here, and Happy New Year, everyone, and let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Chermak, would you lead us, please?
Absolutely, yeah. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we need to reorganize. That, of course, is based on the premise that we were organized in the first place. Yeah. I will, everybody have an opportunity to read the minutes from December's meeting. And if you do, I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
Motion.
Do I have a second? On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes from December 2022 meeting are approved. Anybody from the public like to address the board on agenda items only? Okay, no one stepping forward. So now I have to step aside and have someone make a motion to reorganize and appoint a chair and vice chair.
Yep, I would like to make a motion to appoint Judge Gibbons back to chairman of the prison board.
Second.
Oh, that's me? Yeah, on the question. All in favor?
Aye.
No, my abstention.
And I'll make a motion to name. I'll make a motion to name Sheriff McAndrew as vice chairman of the board.
Second.
On the question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay. So for better or worse, we're off on another adventure. All right, so next item on the agenda is a motion to set the regularly scheduled meeting days of the prison board for the third Wednesday of each month at 12:30 unless otherwise specified. And of course, we're back doing quarterly meetings at the prison. So I believe our next meeting at the prison would be in March, but I'll entertain a motion to set the schedule. Do I have a second?
A second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. And then we've always followed Robert's Rules of Orders for conducting our meetings, and I'll entertain a motion to continue that.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We'll follow Robert's Rules of Order as we always have. Next item is a motion to approve all the current payables for the Community Corrections Center and the prison. I know everybody got those in advance. There was something that came out, the payroll report. Yeah, okay.
Those just came today.
Right. So they came out at the last minute, but the payables for the Community Corrections Center and the prison, I trust everybody's had an opportunity to review those, and I'll entertain a motion to approve those. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Controller DiBileo, I saw you had circulated some items yesterday, and you'll incorporate that into your report?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Thanks, Your Honor. Controller's report for the prison inmate and canteen accounts for December of 2022. The Controller's office reviewed the prison inmate and canteen account reconciliations,
which were prepared by the Prison Business Office for the month of December 2022, and found no discrepancies between the reconciliations and the bank statements. The balance in the inmate account was $387,025.78 as of December 31st, 2022. The balance in the canteen checking account was $339,383.09 as of December 31st of 2022. In addition, as of December 31st, the canteen account also included a balance in the Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust, also known as Pliget, prime checking account of $15,113.63, and two Pliget 120-day term investments valued at $600,000 even and $132,382.32, which will mature January 26th of 2023 for an investment total of $747,495.95. During the month of December 2022, $82,158.71 was paid from the canteen account for the benefit, welfare, and education of county inmates. And an itemized schedule is attached inside of my report that everyone should have. And that concludes my report for the month of December 2022. But on the question, I'll include something further if you don't mind. Perhaps I'll include that now. So this board's recent decision back in September to invest some of the canteen funds into the Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust of about $750,000 was a good idea and has proven fruitful. We will have earned approximately $10,000 come January the 26th, which is the maturity date of some of the money that we've invested. And that's just after 4 months of a period. I sent out the current rates yesterday to all of the board members so they could see those rates. The best rate is for a 180-day period for an investment rate of 5.04%. And if we were to invest our monies coming due January 26th into that 180-day period at 5.04%, that would be an increased investment percentage that we'd be receiving. I'd like to say that our $339,000 balance in the checking account, canteen checking account, should be more than enough to cover ourselves in doing business for the next 180 days, because that amount has grown since September from $250,000 up to $339,000. So with that said, I'd like to make a motion that we reinvest our monies with Pliget into the 5.04 180-day rate come January 26th when our current monies mature. And I'd like to make that in the form of a motion. But on the question, anyone can give their thoughts on any other further investments that are available.
So there's a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. On the question. Anybody have any questions? So what would be the hard dollar amount that you'd be reinvesting?
So the total come January 26th should be about $157,000 even, Your Honor. And that's the amount that would be invested for 180 days at 5.04%. And we've earned about $9,800 for the past 120 days since September, which we were basically earning almost nothing as of that point in time. So it turned out to be a great move back in September. And moving forward, this could be a good move for us for the next 6 months.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, so what do you need from us? Do you need anything from us?
That would be it. We'll inform Pliget to reinvest the money come January 26th, and we'll take care of that from the Controller's office.
Okay,
And that concludes my report for December of 2022.
okay. Thank you very much.
I think we need a motion to accept his report. I'll make that motion.
Okay. We have a second on the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. Your report is accepted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. McConaughey,
Good afternoon, everyone.
Community Corrections Center report, please.
This is for the house arrest report for the month of December. Adult house arrest had 156 participants, juvenile had 19. Programs revenue, house arrest had $52,306.64. Juvenile had $4,390 for a total of $56,696.64. Year-to-date totals for both departments were $671,694.85. Programs expenses were $80,088.33. Programs completions, there was 28. Violations, there were 7. We still have 3 outstanding warrants for house arrest. Budget report overall, overtime was at 59%, expenses were at 90%, and revenue was at 102%. That's the end of it.
Any questions for Mr. McConaughey? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve his report.
Motion.
To have a second
Second.
on the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you,
Have a
Mr.
good day.
McConaughey.
Thank you.
Warden Betti?
Good afternoon, Board. The in-house population, the average daily population for December 22 was 714 inmates, 527 were county inmates. For the month of December, we averaged 629 adult males, 5 juvenile males, and 80 adult females. And the average daily population of U.S. Marshal detainees was 187. Our overtime and out-of-county boarding reports are attached. The budget as of December 31st, revenue was at 96% and expenses were at 101%. The extraordinary occurrence reports, there was 1 extraordinary occurrence in December. On December 10th, a female inmate was observed attempting to tie her suicide prevention smock around her neck. Staff removed the smock from around her neck and placed her in the emergency restraint chair for her safety. PREA, there was 1 PREA investigation completed in the month of December. The allegation was an inmate-on-inmate allegation, and it was deemed founded. The investigative material was forwarded to the District Attorney's Office for review and further action, if deemed appropriate. Digital library service, for lack of a better term, we've talked about this the last couple of months. Unfortunately, over the holiday season, we've made no progress at this point with that. With people with the holidays and taking vacation time, I'm hoping to get that jump started very shortly. Staffing update, currently our correctional officer numbers break down to 168 full-time officers on staff, 6 out on workers' comp, 0 on continuous FMLA, but 60 with intermittent FMLA. 2 on administrative leave, and 5 full-time vacancies for a total of 181 full-time officers. Personnel, in addition to the 5 full-time correctional officer vacancies just mentioned, there are several other vacancies. We have a vacancy for a deputy warden of treatment, a licensed mental health clinician, a substance abuse mental health specialist, and a part-time receptionist position. Anyone in the public that may be interested is advised to go to the county's website and fill out an application. Also, we've concluded interviews of people who have expressed an interest in working at the prison as corrections officers, and there are 7 people who have earned positive recommendations for those positions. The names of these folks have been previously forwarded to the prison board members, and I'm hopeful that the board will authorize us to hire those 7 individuals. In addition, and in response to requests from members of the board, Lindsay Cochran is here today to speak with the board about substance abuse and mental health related programming at the prison. And with that said, and with the permission of the board, I'll conclude my report and at your will, turn it over to Lindsay. If there's any questions, though, I'm obviously here to answer them.
With the personnel decisions, do you wish to go into executive session to discuss?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question. Warden. With respect to the digital library, what is the holdup? What needs to be done, and how do we expand those services for the population?
Well, the company that we'd be utilizing, I'm hopeful of, is a company called Overdrive, and we're trying to get things to coordinate between the county library system, us, and Overdrive. And it just fell at a bad time of the year with, again, with holidays and vacations that we haven't all been able to get together to discuss how to move forward. But it's our hope that we'll be able to, in a very short while, provide free books on our tablet library. That's the goal.
Thank you.
Yep.
And you've been working in conjunction with the Scranton Public Library on that as well?
Yeah, I've had a few conversations with Mary, and again, I'm hoping we get together before the end of this month. We're waiting now, my understanding is we're waiting now to hear from the gentleman from Overdrive to set a meeting.
Okay. Any other questions for the warden? You want to ask Ms. Cochran to come up?
All right. Lindsay, the floor is yours.
Hello.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us what's going on at the prison.
It's a very general question. It's kind of vague to answer. Right now, we have close to 130 participants in our program with myself, and we have one more specialist that's still there with us. So, and that's in addition to who WellPath sees with their 2 behavioral specialists.
Okay. And how do you feel capacity-wise?
There's definitely a need for more. That's always been the case. There's the ratio is, the need is extremely high.
Okay.
So the more that we could have, the more services that we can provide.
Okay. Do you feel that you're, at this point, limited in your own provision individually, or is it hampering your ability to serve the population?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I mean, we still tried to do as much as we can with what we have, and we've been able to do that up until this point, which I think is incredible. You know, something is better than nothing, and that's how we look at it. But the need for more is definitely there.
And are you able to detect, positive results or positive feedback from the population?
Yes, and that's been since day one. We've served over, at this point, with over close to 130 active. When there were the other 2 girls that were working with our program, we've served well over 400 or 500 individuals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Myself and one other individual, and then myself and one other, and then WellPath has 2. Yes.
In addition, WellPath has 2?
Yes.
And how about with the volunteer services with AA? Can you update us
Yes.
what services are being provided at the prison?
Yeah, so we have the Recovery Bank. They're coming Monday through Friday, so we've been able to offer meetings every day, which has been a huge step in the direction that we're trying to move in. We also have an LGBTQ group that started on Friday afternoon, so we have that as well. Jane and Outreach and their staff has been starting their programming as well, so we've made some pretty significant progress with that also.
Okay. Any other questions?
Service that you think you need more than others? Is it like one particular
I think just overall, just behavioral health as a whole, because it covers mental health, we cover substance abuse and everything in between. So it's trauma, it's looking at connecting individuals to as many resources as we can to prepare them for transitioning back into the community or, wherever their next step is. So whether that be a different facility or things like that too, so.
Lindsay, is WellPath looking to add more behavioral health personnel, as far as you know?
I want to say yes. I'm not 100% sure. The warden might know that more than I do. But in the beginning, they just weren't able to find anyone that put in for those positions. So I don't know if they're still open or not.
But in your opinion, we can use more.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have any questions?
Services that you're providing, behavioral health services, are those provided only during the daytime hours?
Yeah, sometimes I'm there later, so it can go later. WellPath used to have an evening and weekend staff, but they no longer have, that person's not there. So we do, I would say maybe from 8:30 until 5:36. Yeah.
The volunteer services, you mentioned the recovery bank, they're going on in the evenings as well, are
Yes.
they? Okay,
So those are after, so those are all second shift, yeah.
okay.
And we have DATs coming in as well. I forgot to mention that, so they're there 2 times a week also.
There's not a WellPath representative here today, right?
No.
Do you think perhaps, Your Honor, we can have someone come in at our next meeting from WellPath to give us a report?
Absolutely.
That would be, I think, helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve the warden's report.
Second.
On the question? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. So, David, do we need to go?
If there's questions, everybody was prepared with information.
Right.
Unless there's questions for the sense of matter that somebody thinks needs to have a session, I think you could go forward based on what the information provided. It's up to anybody's got a particular concern or something.
I'm okay. Anybody feel a need to go into executive on it? If not, we'll just ask the warden to come back up and present the names of the people that you want to hire. And
Okay, well, as I had mentioned, there are 7 individuals who had been interviewed by interview teams at the Lackawanna County Prison. Those interview teams consisted, there was one team that was me, a deputy warden, and a lieutenant. There was another team that was 2 deputy wardens. One person did both. Deputy Warden Arzell was on both teams. 2 deputy wardens and our human resource compliance officer back in December. There were 7 individuals. If you have any questions about them, feel free to ask. I'll just run off their names.
this is all for full-time corrections officers?
Well, there's only 5 full-time positions. And so 5 of these individuals would be offered full-time, 2 part-time.
Okay.
We do have an individual that is going to be retiring in February. So that's already 6 out of the 7 individuals.
Okay.
And unfortunately, or fortunately, the way we seem to run, the other person will be full-time by the time their orientation class, which is a month long. Before that's done, there'll probably be another opening.
So let me just ask you generally as a group, are you familiar with all their qualifications?
Yes. Yes.
And is it your feeling that they would make good employees of the prison?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any hesitation at all about any individual in particular?
No, I don't.
Why don't you give us their names?
Okay. Thank you. Gentleman named Matthew Grebeck. And again, if you have any questions, I know I sent them out late last week. Sean Byron, Kyle Mulrain, Kevin Herring, Clarence Money, Michael Simrell Jr., and Destiny Gavrish.
Were there other candidates that didn't make the cut, Warden?
Yes, there were several. I believe it was 3, maybe 4 individuals.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to make offers of employment to those 7 people.
Motion.
I'll second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. You'll be deciding to whom you'll offer full-time versus part-time.
Yeah, obviously, if that's okay with the board.
Yes, yeah, that's fine. Okay, thank you, Warden.
Thank you.
Anybody from the public wish to address the board? Joan?
Joan Hodawan at Scranton. Gary, for these Pliget investments, what do you estimate the interest will be for that 6-month investment at 5.04%? Did you do the math?
Well, 5% of 750,000 should be 37,000.
Well, it sounds good. Now, you're a governmental agency. Does this mean the tax man doesn't get a bite of the apple?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think you.
Since it's in, yeah, my auditor back there is saying, no, we wouldn't need to pay
Okay, so you
any
get to keep it all.
taxes on that. Yeah.
Oh, good deal.
Well, he doesn't get to.
Well, you know what I made. You, the corporate, non-governmental organization, get to keep it all, or the prison can. Okay, yeah, well, at least there is a God, see? I'm hoping that these interest rates stay higher, get higher as the year progresses, looking at the way the economy's beginning to slow down and the work that the Fed is doing. So I'm hoping that you'll be looking down the road, because 6 months will go awfully fast. And
Remember, that's based on inflation rate, too, so
I
it's
know,
a double-edged
inflation's
sword.
starting to slow down a bit.
Right.
But you never know. I mean, it could be another war with China, who knows? Last year, you did agree that there was a need for an independent audit. Now, does your fiscal year end at December 31st?
This was December 31st,
Yeah,
yes.
so that's when your fiscal year ends.
Yes.
So I assume in the next few months, you'll be putting out a request for somebody to do the audit of the canteen fund, because it's starting to get pretty hefty.
Well, actually, the prison board should probably make that motion.
Well, then I remind
I'd be
the
happy to
president,
have that
Judge
happen.
Gibbons, I'm watching, I was going to ask you to consider it, and you said, it was a good idea, so I'm watching, I'm waiting.
I would be in favor of that, and I'm not sure what the cost would be, but I would even make
Yeah,
a
well,
motion.
now that your 2020 or 2022 years come to an end, now's the time to start thinking if you're gonna do it, doing
I
it.
don't think anybody disagrees with you, and I'll entertain a motion if somebody wants to make a motion.
Okay?
I'll make a motion that we have the prison funds audited.
Yeah. Now, this way, there'll be no questions, because you don't want to be the fox guarding the hen house. You want somebody else to say, hey, you don't like my word? Here's the audit.
Yes,
That's the way to go.
absolutely,
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Thanks, Joan. So there's a motion and a second on the floor. On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I'm assuming that the cost, Your Honor, may be able to be taken from the canteen account?
Well, we can't assume anything, so.
So that, we'd have to ask Frank and Dave about.
Well, we could, if you make a motion that the costs will be paid out of these funds, then I think that's a clean way to do it.
Sure, so I'll make a motion that we have the prison account funds audited and have the cost of that audit come right from the canteen account funds.
Do I have a second? On the question?
My only question, Mr. Chairman, is it going to be
Well, I'm all ears. I mean, it is a professional service, so we don't necessarily have to put out a request for proposal.
So I can tell you just from the county perspective, we probably have anywhere from 5 to 8 various accounting firms that we rotate on a 2-year basis so that they are auditing all of the various departments, but, you know, never situated too long in one particular department. We can look to see if any of those auditors are agreeable with the board. And they're all varying auditing firms and accounting firms from all over Lackawanna County. Our primary county auditor is Zelkowski Axelrod. They're out of Harrisburg, but they do the big overall main county audit. So there's a number of scenarios and choices if the board would like to desire to do that. Either way, if you do an RFP, we can put it in purchasing and we can draft an RFP as well.
So the controller's office is open to anyone that you might recommend, Frank. And if you'd like to put an RFP out, that would be fine by us.
Why don't we send an email around to the board and I'll maybe make some suggestions of the auditors that we're using.
Well, let us know who the county uses, and then we can go from there.
No problem.
Okay, great.
My feeling is if we don't need to do an RFP, then I don't see why we need to, because it would just delay things out a little bit further.
Save some costs.
Right.
Okay, good.
Okay?
Good.
All right. Anybody else from the public wish to address the board?
Good afternoon. Francesco Malacaria, Scranton. I noticed that there was no talk about the guard that was, you know, I suppose arrested for, you know, bringing drugs into the prison last month. I was wondering if I don't want any details. I know that you guys wouldn't be able to talk about that due to the ongoing investigation, I imagine. But is there any protocols that you're looking to put in place to like prevent this from happening again? I understand that this isn't the first time that this has happened with a guard. If there was any policies changing in like orientation or something that the guards are going to be going through. You have a whole new batch of guards that are going to be going through training. Is there other background checks or something that you haven't looked through that could have shown something?
The warden can speak more specifically to that, but I do know that in the training, and they all undergo background checks, and the training involves, you know, what you can and cannot bring into the prison. I know that gets down to specifically, but Warden?
Well, of course, it's obvious that like no one should be bringing drugs into the prison. You have a very wide definition of what contraband can be.
Yes.
As we've seen, like during the past summer, crucifix can be considered contraband. if it's not
Tobacco is
been
a
approved.
contraband.
Yes, I understand. So regardless, I'd like to know what like further steps could be taken or being looked at about preventing this, because previously you guys have said that the library wasn't allowed into the prison because you guys were worried about drugs being smuggled in from the library system. And it seems like the issue is actually the guards rather than people from the outside smuggling drugs in. So I'd like to know what your plans are to prevent this in the future.
Well, I don't know that the issue is the guards versus people, what we were saying in terms of books, that contraband, the technology and technique surrounding contraband has gotten to the point where people can transfer drugs to the printed page. And so the
Right, but
idea.
if that's coming in through our library system, that shouldn't be an issue that we're facing. That should be something that is like, we have a control area that it'll be, like, the books would be fed through the library system into the prison. It's not like we're taking donations directly from the public and then asking for them to go to the direct.
Well, there were
individual.
donations coming in of books from the public, so
Of course, there's always donations from the public that goes to the library.
we've
But there's
obviated
that step
that.
in between that.
Can I finish?
Absolutely.
We've obviated that whole system by using the tablets for the books.
Right, but not everyone gets access to those tablets, as we've spoken
Yeah,
about.
no, they do.
maybe limited access during the days, but there are significant populations inside the prison that do not have like unfeathered access. They can just read a book whenever they want.
Well, I'm not going to debate with you. I think the warden can address the specifics of it, but they do have access. And
Thank you.
go ahead.
I would normally just yell from the back of the room, but I've had a laryngitis thing going on for the last 2 weeks, in and out, so I don't want to strain it. I do want to say that there are no provisions to stop human nature, and I don't mean that to be a wise guy. We're always going to have the problem of the potential of a staff member smuggling something into the facility. That's human nature, and we need to be on top of our game, like we were, to catch individuals. So we're very diligent about that. We do train officers, we train non-officers during orientation into different factors of how not to get hooked, for lack of a better term, into that game. But it's not 100% accurate. The human factor always comes into play, but we are very diligent about that, and we're very much on top of that. Just so everybody knows, staff members are searched coming in. They have to come in with clear plastic bags and show what they have. I won't go into any more detail than that, but just know that there are steps to minimize it, but it's impossible to eliminate that possibility. What else were you going to ask me about there? I wrote down diligence. That's all I wrote. Wow.
No, I think the question concerned your protocols.
The tablets are available to all staff. We have a one-to-one, to all the inmate population, and we have a one-to-one ratio. Matter of fact, we have, today's count is 721, and we have somewhere close to 900 tablets in the facility. Can you get it anytime you want? No, there are specific hours that you can get it, and we shut it down at, if I remember correctly, at 10 o'clock at night.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else from the public?
Hi, I'm Tracy Lydell. I'm the Director of Forensic Services at Scranton Counseling Center. I would ask by my administration to come in and discuss the possibility of opening up discussions about contractual work for mental health services needed within the jail. I know recently there were postings for the behavioral health department. They've been vacant for a bit, and I understand that there's need in the jail. Just to open up discussion to see what need there is and if we can offer a service.
Well, as you've heard, you've been sitting back there. There is certainly a need, and I'm sure they'll be more than willing to sit down and talk with you. I think your first point of contact would be the warden and Lindsay, and they both happen to be here right now, so I'll ask them both to stay and chat with you at the conclusion of the meeting and see where we go from there.
Great.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public? Any board members have any other business?
Only thing I have, Your Honor, is Beth Ann Zero from the NEPA Prison Advocates had 5 questions that she emailed me. I forwarded them to the warden. He answered the questions, and I'll be sending them out to Beth Ann.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
A second?
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you.